Hey, what's up, everybody? Episode 1 of the Young Philosophers podcast. I'm gonna let my co hosts introduce themselves real quick.
Hey, what's up? It's Bobby here.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Munibam Knuckles out here spinning some wisdom to all of you.
Yo, this is the 5th time we did this already.
Jesus fucking.
Hi. So basically, as I said fucking a million times before, we're three best.
They weren't here. This is the first time they listened.
Okay. We're three best friends from different cultures, different beliefs, all that shit. We've known each other for a year, 2 years now. We thought it would be a good idea to bring you this podcast, talk about some real shit from a real perspective that, a lot of people seem to be avoiding these kinds of topics, but fuck it. I mean, they can't cancel us. We're not even famous, so so fuck
Our
it.
only listeners are us, yo.
Fuck it. Alright, so first topic, okay?
Alright.
I want to talk about some real shit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know how every year
Mm-hmm.
you look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, God damn, I've changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like the person I've been like a year ago, that was some hoe ass shit, blah, blah, blah. I'm happy I got better. Why doesn't that happen overnight?
Mm-hmm.
When it's taking you like a few months or a few years or whatever to change completely, even though you know what you're doing right now, maybe some hoe ass shit, but you really can't change it overnight. So when you make that decision, it's gonna take you days, weeks, months, years, depending on what your goals and problems are. So during that time when you're transitioning from a hoe ass person to a less hoe person, what's happening in your body, in your brain, or whatever that can justify that waiting period?
You wanna take it?
I genuinely think that's just like growing up. You can compare that to weight loss. When you start your weight loss, when you start losing weight. So if you start 100 kilograms, in a few months you go down to 80 or 70, but and you would see the difference. But on the day after, if you train today, you won't see the difference tomorrow. And even if you do, it won't be marginal or whatever. So you wouldn't see a huge difference. But in a few months or a year or something, you would look back and you'd be like, damn, why was I like that? I could have done that a long time ago, whatever. Yeah. But you wanna?
Yeah, I think it's it depends on the person and the personality, basically, because when you try to change, it changes everything in you, your body, your mindset, your personality, your etiquettes, your everything that you do in your daily life, your whole routine, it changes. But the reason why we don't see the change the very next day is because I feel like it's all about experiences. You gotta get through something to actually see that perspective. But sometimes you can say, when you have enough knowledge of that subject or that situation or event, you can judge it. You can judge it, right? But sometimes when you're not really familiar with it, you're gonna have to go through experiences. Like some kids, like me myself, right? I used to think that high school is gonna be easy. It's gonna be just chill, just like in the school right now. I was in the school, I just sit at the bench, listen to music and shit, just pass the time, then talk to my friends and all that. But when I came here, it everything changed. I was never in such environment before. I saw these people, they were very social. I wasn't very social, So I saw these people, I was like, this is cool, because they're getting to know each other, they're getting knowledge. And I want that knowledge. So what I did, I went there. I tried to fucking get it. And when I got that, slowly that changed me because that knowledge stayed in my mind, And overnight, over days, that knowledge started to influencing me. You feel me? Yeah. Yeah, basically, I'm serious. You think about this shit, oh, this guy, he's such a cunt, he does this to his girl. I'm gonna remember that. Next time, 10 days later, I'm gonna make a decision which is also gonna fucking which will be influenced by that fucking knowledge. You feel me?
That's true.
You fucking can't laughing, yo. Now explain yourself. Why you laughing?
Listen. Okay, first of all, respect for opening up. Like,
Yo, what happened? I told you this a million times.
Okay, you didn't. You didn't
I
tell.
told you I wasn't social,
Look,
but I became social, right?
look. Now we have extra people listening. Huh? This is a different ball game. So you mentioned like with physical training and shit.
No, mentally and physically.
No, I mean Bob.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
Bob.
I got a follow-up question though, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Alright,
What's
let
up?
me- Like, you see how like we're talking about change and everything. So we like we know what's good for us, you know.
That's theory
But,
again,
like,
yo.
Now my question is like, why don't we change for the better? Like we know what's good for us, you know what's like it's gonna make us better or whatever. But like we don't take that way, you know. We always take like the easy way. We always want to take it chill and not work hard and all that shit. Even though we know in the end that's not gonna help us, you know. So why are we so stuck in our comfort zone? That's my question.
That's a deep fucking question.
Yo, me and this fuck, we were at the station, right? And we used to talk about this shit for like weeks, bro. On God. That's true. Remember? Like, it would just be at the station. This guy would just randomly, bro, I know I have to do this. Why don't I do this, you know? Like, you want, like, it's a very complicated thing. It's a fucking complicated thing.
Okay, so that's a good fucking question. I don't have like a direct answer. But you know, every time you conquer something, that something becomes part of your comfort zone. And it's always the thought of like, oh, fuck, I could have done this years ago. It would have saved me so much trouble. But then you look onto the new thing, you're like, nah, this is different. This still gonna take me like time to get over or whatever. But like, okay, Bob here mentioned like physical exercise and shit. To me, that's like kind of easy because that's all. You can do that with numbers. You know, if you do 1,000 sit-ups, you know your abs are 1,000 sit-ups stronger now. Or if you run, you're gonna lose this much weight. But how are you? What I'm saying is like, how are you gonna measure your mental capacity when it comes to these things? Like, if you're doing some hoe ass shit, how are you even gonna be able to know this is some hoe ass shit? And if someone tells you, like an OG or a parent or whatever the fuck, like how do you respond to that? Like, do you look at yourself in the mirror? You look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, okay, I know I want to change this, but it's not gonna happen overnight. Why though? In these few months when you're changing from like 1 to 0 or whatever, like what's happening in your brain in these months? And why doesn't it happen overnight? Because we know, like, okay, if I want to build something, you know, I can build that in a day. But like, let's say confidence. Can you build confidence in a day? No fucking way. No. Why does it take so long to build confidence? Because even though, like, you could be, like, confidence is one of the things like a lot of people struggle with. People of like all races, all like types of wealth, all of that shit. They still like struggle with being confident in who they are and what they represent. So what I'm saying is, do you think there's a lot of influence in our lives for us to do shit that we don't really have any interest in doing, but we do it because we follow society? And then the people who realize that they were on some whole shit and change, these are the people that actually, you know, followed a correct mindset to try to look themselves in the mirror and see like what's wrong and dissect their personality and all that shit. What do you guys have to say about that?
I think you answered your own question, to be honest. When you said like, you know, how did these people change from a hoe ass behavior to, you know, a good one, and then you said how they follow society and shit. That's your answer. I feel like everything right now is influenced by society and media, right? So not only that, even from the old times, the religion, ethics, morals, everything that's influencing a person to be better, you know, to change themselves. So when you're like in a society full of hoes, let's say, like you're in a society with all people that do bad shit, just like drugs, like sex, like whatever the fuck they want, like no laws and shit. In that society, I don't think you will ever want to change, But right now, let's say you're in like civilized society, right? Let's say you're here in basically in Westeros, right? And you're
Where is that for the people?
in Sweden, yo, Sweden, Westmanland. Let's go, 63, yo. Okay, so where was I?
You're like society.
Yeah. So I feel like when you're here and you do this bad stuff and you're surrounded by people who follow laws, who follow, the rules and regulations of religion, then they will influence you to be better. They will basically tell you that we follow this, why don't you? Your behavior is not acceptable because it doesn't really go along with our rules, So in that manner, these people are gonna influence you to be like them. And to them, you will think, just because I'm surrounded by all of these people, this is better. So it's bandwagon, You gotta go along with all the people. You gotta go along with what others are doing. And I feel like it's human nature, because when you feel left alone, you're hurt. As you said, right? You're hurt in the fucking brain. Like it's just like a physical pain. So when you're like that, you want to get rid of that thing. And just like that, you will try to blend in with other people, and then they will accept you. And I want to talk about the, like the LGBTQ community. Like these people, now they finally have, a community that they can, like get along with, So now they feel better. And I feel like, as you said, like, why don't we see the change overnight? That question, like, needs a detailed answer, yo. I swear to God. We gotta fucking, like, do that shit for that. All right, let Bobby talk.
Wait. So you made a point, like, about, like, religion and rules and all of that. Okay, but I'm gonna spill some tea here. Like, for us at least, I've asked y'all.
Why you took your shoes off?
Yeah, I got some stones in my.
How you get stoned in too,
I got
bro?
pebbles in there, man.
Okay, are the pebbles gone now?
Pebbles are gone.
Okay, so we were talking about religion, rules, society, all of that shit. So, us personally, I've asked y'all privately if y'all were religious. Y'all not.
I am religious.
Okay. If y'all are religious, you both said no. But all three of us, to an extent, were spiritual. We like to reflect on ourselves a lot. Yeah, right. But at the same time, if we don't follow religion, and like in a country like Sweden, let's say, hypothetically, drugs are illegal and that type of stuff.
What hypothetically realistic?
Hypothetically, no one said we live there. But if we did, and like we enjoyed to smoke weed and party occasionally and like all of these things, how, like, does that make us bad people because we're refusing what society and what the law and what religion is trying to tell us? Or maybe the influence of the world is a bad influence, because if you look at it before, like all these religions, like specifically the sky religions, like people used to rely more on spirituality. And that's something, like, I also talked with you guys privately about manifestation and like your energy and like things like that. People back then, they didn't have like a specific god. They would have these mythical symbols, these figures, like the god of the sun or whatever. Yeah. But now we have a much more defined term for religion and what people should and shouldn't do and what they should think and how, like, what they wouldn't do. So how do you think the influence of a society or like religion or whatever the fuck, how much effect it can have like on you when growing up, or like in your developing years? Like how do you stop someone from becoming a hoe ass motherfucker if like their whole like identity in society and all of that is basically forcing them to be like a,
let me just add something real quick, yo. When you ask fucking questions, I feel like it's a whole essay and it's a fucking, I'm like at one point and this guy spits another like detailed shit. I can't, like, short questions. Snälla mannen. Okay, look.
Let me comment
let him talk.
On the standards. Like, you talked about how religion is like, how like it puts standards on us, and like So yeah, about being
Follow.
bad and good, and how like doing drugs and partying and all that shit, does that make us bad people and everything? I think it's more about what what standards we believe in, or like what values or moral codes we live up to. Obviously, since we were all like raised in religious environments, we were taught from when we were kids, drugs are bad, this is that, like don't smoke, don't, I don't know, commit adultery and that kind of stuff. So so in the back of our heads, we're always gonna believe that. It's always gonna be there. And I mean, we might do it or not. That wouldn't make a difference, but it's still gonna be back there. We're always gonna be thinking about it. And to change that, I think it's a huge step, because like you gotta like go face to face with your own values. You gotta challenge yourself. Obviously, that's not easy. It could take a lifetime. It could take less. You don't know that, but like, it's like I believe it's easier to explain it through like philosophy and those kind of stuff, because you challenge yourself more there. You try to find or like understand yourself more, but these are basically like the standards that we live up to, or like try to live up to, like religion and all that stuff. And then there's the social pressure. So let me give you a quick example here. Like, let's say me, Bobby Shmurda. I just
Which word of bomb? Just Bobby.
I come to school, like my friends would like greet me and shit, and like they would look at me as like
The Messiah.
they would think like I'm just a drug dealer, because reasons unknown. So, or like they would think I'm a gangster. So like they'd come to me like, yo, what's up, my G, and this and that. I'm like, and I have to live up to that standards, right? Even though I'm not. Like, I'm just a random kid, from a shitty neighborhood, like shitty upbringing. That's just me. But like these guys, they think I'm a gangster, so they're just gonna say like act G and all that stuff with me, like try to use slang and whatnot. They feel like they want to fit in with me, right? And you gotta like, it's awkward if you don't live up to that standards, because now you're kind of like isolating yourself from them. But if you do live up to it, then it's not really you. So as I said, it's like there's a lot of social pressure for you to be who they like think you are. So you try to adapt into that scenario.
I feel like you just spit bars from, like, that was actually true. The social pressure is like such a big thing that it influences every single thing. Like, as you said, like, you come to school, like, and people just like think you're a fucking gangster, or you live the thug life and shit. Like, I understand that, because not gonna lie, first day when I saw you, I was like, I know, right? Because I myself, I'm influenced by the same fucking society that we live in, right? Like, I live there. Like, I saw these people. I'm from Pakistan, right? So there, like, I don't see nobody like dressed up like that. Never, ever. They're in fucking their national fucking dress, like shalwar kameez, big dub, but. Hey, that white fucking thing from yeah.
I'll put a picture after.
Alright. Where was I?
Oh, you were talking how they dress, or
Yeah. So when I came here, I saw these people like dressing very differently, so different. I was like, do their parents not teach them manners? Like, do they not know how to dress properly, or do they just don't give a fuck? Then I realized their life is so different than ours. Why? Because their values, their morals, and their way of looking at life, their perspective is so different than mine, right? It was so hard to, like, get along with that shit. It was so, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, first day, like, I couldn't even speak English back then, I read English, but I couldn't speak. So I was like, my broken fucking Indian English, hello, I am Munib, welcome, I am from Pakistan. That's it. 3 fucking lines. That's my introduction, and then I'm gonna sit quiet and let them talk in Swedish. I'm like, yo, absolute. And then, slowly, I realized their culture, their culture is, and their traditions are so different, but they're still interesting, Like, these people do find this stuff spiritual, or they do respect it. So I feel like when these things are taken into consideration, we feel like it makes a whole new image for everybody in that society, Let's say, let's say like you are being looked up as like a thug or something. Like, they see me, they see a fucking technician guy, yo. I mean, they ain't wrong. Like, I was into that shit, but still. And Yo, I forgot the question, yo.
Living up to society's.
Yeah. As you said, if you really try to blend in and like meet their expectations, it's not you. I really like that point because that's so true. If you're just being influenced by somebody else, and just for the sake of your picture to them, you're gonna do whatever they say, then you're not really yourself, and that shit's gonna fuck with you for a long time. Because then you're gonna struggle to find your own real self. You're gonna be like, I was like that, but now I want to be like this, but I was never like this before, so why am I being like this? But that was your real personality, but you just abandoned it just because of the society pressure, you know?
Gonna go, like, it's a good thing that you mentioned coming to Sweden and all that stuff. Because I think for people of our kind, let me explain us real quick.
Yeah.
So, like, this guy was born and raised in Pakistan, and then he came to Sweden when he was 15, 16,
Whatever,
anyways. And same with...
I was 16 last year, fam.
14. Alright, my bad. And same with the host, and same with me. Alright. So, like, here's the thing. So we came from like third world countries. Right, so like our whole like moral system, our whole everything is just different. Like dress code and this and everything is just different. Right. So when we came to Sweden, right, so everything is just completely new. Like the way they dress, the way they talk, the way they discuss their ideas, like the shit they talk about, everything is just completely different. And I think that's where we're like, people like us are like the most vulnerable. Right. So first of all, we're young, we're impressionable and all that stuff. And then we're like in a whole new country. Like, we would just see movies of these guys, right? We wouldn't like meet them in real life. So like now we're here. So this is when we first like get easily sidetracked. So when I first came here, I was like just me, like the aggressive big bully me. I was a big bully, I'm not gonna lie about it. Anyways, so I came to Sweden, there's like all the people being nice and sweet to him. Like, yo, why are they like this, man? I just want to bully people. Like, what? And they're like, so I was like kind of forced to be nice and all that stuff. And then came like the influencing part, because I'm still young and impressionable. That's where like I started getting sidetracked.
Wait a second, let me just cut in. So you were forced to be nice?
Yeah.
So you wanted to fucking bully him?
Yeah, that was just me though. Like I couldn't see. That's the same thing we started the episode with. Like if you're in a mindset, how do you change that? Like if you're acting as a hoe and whatnot, you know. So I never really realized that I was that until I was like...
Because you were too comfortable back in your country being that, right?
Say what?
So you were too comfortable being that bully in your country back then, right?
That was just much easier.
So you didn't realize that was being a hoe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I wouldn't know that until I was told, and I was never told. So that was when I first got sidetracked into like cigarettes. And I mean, I did before, but like I never really commit to it. I just did it to fit in. And then when I came to Sweden, everyone was doing it, and I did that to fit in as well. And now I'm just addicted to it. And I think that's the same thing with can I mention your weed thing? I mean, allegedly speaking here. Alright, so this is how Munib G first got introduced to cigarettes. Alright, so it was just two of us.
Wait, like... no. I told you the story before, yo. I smoked before, but I quit because my cousins left. You know, I started with my cousins, but here it got a bit too far.
Alright, if we're gonna be honest,
not too honest, yo.
If we're not gonna be too honest, tell us that you didn't do it just so you can fit in with us. Was that not the reason?
To fit in? Yeah, definitely. I feel like I've picked up a lot of like parts or like ways of fitting in with people, and I'm comfortable with it now. So I just go along with it because it's gonna make me feel better and make me feel like I am a part of their group or their society.
Exactly. And that's not just cigarettes. That goes to like fashion style, the way we talk, the way we think. And so we get the impressions of everything our friends do, and we try to copy that because we think it's cool and whatnot. The same thing can be said about like changing as a person. I think it has a lot to do with the people you associate with. Like if you think like, if you want to be like a business guy and whatnot, and you want to go that side, I think you just have to like socialize with businessmen or people that have the same aspirations as you do, because they're the one that like are gonna think that way and like are gonna help you get to that point. But if you just hang around with like stoners and those kind of guys. Like, there's no relations. There's no way you're gonna go that way.
Okay, so you just like made a great fucking point. So let's say I'm a businessman, okay, and I start hanging out with business people. Okay, that's a given. But since we have like in the world, societies have gotten like so much more complex and bigger and all of that. What if it's not that easy? Because the goal is shifted. What if you want someone with the not necessarily like a business mentality, but you want someone with the same like principles and values as you? And I say that, I don't mean like being a goody two shoes, because the way I look at it, we all have like, our perfect version of life. And whatever it is, whatever it is like to you, that's fine. Like, I don't really give a shit what people want to do. But if we again look back at the old times, like people had to hunt to eat. Like, there were these things that people absolutely had to do. Like, they lived in small communities. Basically, like, the idea of marriage didn't exist. If there were 50 women, 50 men, they would all like have sex with each other. Like, which was extremely normal, considering like there wasn't any idea of ownership. This is not our land. This is just earth, and we have to hunt here. Like,
not land. This was not their land. They just said this is our home. So they all shared it. It was like a big incest family, yo.
Okay, no, I don't mean that they have to be related. But
Yeah.
but put yourself in that position. If like a few thousand years ago, because people like always say, scientists, that people are, we're social animals, right? We need to be around each other. But who gets to decide which type of people you need to get around and how many? Is a community 50 people? Is it 100 people? Is it 200? Who gets to decide all these things?
Let me chime in.
Oh, no, wait, real quick.
The question was who gets to decide. No. Say the question was to decide who gets to decide which community will we be part of. Okay.
Yeah, okay, because back then they basically had two ways like to classify you. If you're a woman, you're like basically, you're the caretaker. We need you to have children. We need to provide for you, all of that. If you're a guy, you either had like the physical prowess to go out there and hunt and do all this, like you had that killer mentality, or you were like just a, hoe ass motherfucker, and you got to stay pick apples with the ladies and shit. But now we have so many different like types of societies and groups and thoughts and content to consume every single fucking day. So how do you know who is your community? How can you find people that are like you? Because to me, that's the hardest thing to do in life, because it seems like you will never really fit in and prosper in life until at least you find a few people that think like you and are able to push you forward. So how do you decide who your community is?
I feel like the very first point that needs to be made is you need to find yourself first. You need to understand who you are first in order to fit in or find more friends, or find a community for your own benefit. And when you do that, the thing is, you can be yourself and you can also find friends and you can have a group or you can find a community, but it's in the world, it's surrounded by thousands other communities, and they all have their own power, their own morals and values. So those who are in power will I feel like they will have an effect on your rise or your power or your ruling or whatever. I feel like if you're 20, 30 people, you have your ideas, you want to pursue those ideas, you want to execute the idea, you will do that. But the guarantee of that idea succeeding is like 1 to 99, I feel like, because you just found yourself, and there are people who found themselves and are still adapting to the whole this society, this world thing, and they're still prospering, they're still going ahead in their life. But I feel like the way you're gonna find a community for yourself is obviously, back to my point, the first thing you're gonna have to do is find yourself. After that, things will become easier for you. You know why? Because when you know who you are, and when you know what things you like, and when you know like what values you share, what morals you have, you will see that in other people. If they are like different, you will realize, oh, there's another person, he's like himself, I'm not gonna fit in with him. So then you move on, you find a better person. I feel like there's a lot of us, just like us. There's a lot of people just like us, but we just haven't found them because they haven't found themselves completely yet. You feel me? I feel like they don't really know who they are yet, so they're too afraid to like go with us. But in their heart, they still want to be a part of this shit, but they're too afraid. So then again, that is how you cannot like change your life in one night. It takes time, and with time there's gonna be experiences, more experience, more knowledge. Then you're gonna realize, oh, these guys, I see them, they're just like me, and I have been through the same thing. I share their perspective. Then with time, you will find your community. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm lost, man. That was some sick shit. I can't add to that.
That was a great fucking point.
My
You
hand's
said,
sweaty, though. You fucking cunt.
yeah,
Like,
same.
holy shit.
Yo, side note, I got like fucking really sweaty hands
I'm
every
still
time.
ready to get fucked, yo.
Every time I dap someone up, like their hand mad wet. Pause. But
This is ocean wet. I'm ocean sick now.
I so you made a great point that you can't find your community, your group of people, unless you can find yourself. But I feel like society really, really, really encourages you to not do that. I feel like with like all over the world, like the education system when you're young, like the business world when you graduate or whatever the fuck, even like old values, like especially in the types of countries we used to live in, where like you have to be married by like you're 20 and you have to have like a few kids and you're gonna struggle. Like, it's just, let's say you walk into school first day, okay, you're wearing like some Jordans, you look good, you got some money in your pocket, you got few blunts rolled and whatever. You walk in, you find like a group of guys, okay, and they all have like Jordans, whatever. So you think, okay, I'm gonna associate myself with these people, right? I'm gonna go hang out with them, see what they're about. So you end up doing, all this fun shit. You spend a few months together, blah blah blah. Okay, and you think these people are your people, but then let's say every time like you like mention to them that you're insecure about something or anything like that, they just turn like really, really like to a toxic way. Because like I'm speaking like that from a personal experience where I had this friend like I kind of idolized. He was like older than me, like did all this cool shit, but like I could never really be myself around him. And that really taught me a lot, in the way that if I'm not gonna find myself, I'm just gonna end up lost between these people. Because I have to find myself, I have to find my community in order for me to finally like be able to enjoy life and experiences, and not just look at everything so like in a negative way. And because it affects your mind when you're around a group of people that don't really get you, they don't really encourage you to do anything, they don't really respect you in that kind of way. So for young people who are out there in this situation right now, what kind of advice can we give them if they're around a group of people who they feel might be toxic, or like they're just bad like for your mental health? Every time you see them, you're like, I don't really want to do this, I wish I could find better people. So what advice do we have for all these people, young, old, whatever, about finding themselves in their community?
I feel like the very first thing you have to do is like be very, very careful when you idolize somebody. You have to be very careful choosing your idol, because they in a way help you finding yourself. That's what it's all about. You want to be like somebody, and you know that you have that feeling towards this passion, and you want to, pursue it. And this person already pursued it, and he's successful. So I'm gonna idolize him, and I feel like this guy is the one who's gonna take me to my, dream heaven. So I feel like, first of all, the thing you gotta go for is like choose who you're gonna idolize, and second of all, the thing you're talking about is like, toxic people and shit. I feel like this is a part of life. When you like step in, you're gonna find people who are gonna be themselves, and who are gonna be, very different from you. And when they're gonna be like that, you're gonna feel left out, because you're gonna be like, I didn't sign up for this shit. I felt like when I go there, people are gonna like me, people are gonna appreciate me, because I'm myself. I don't judge anybody, or I don't have anything against them. So why do they have against me? So just in case, if you're like in this situation, you have to like take some time, reset your mindset, and like start again. Basically, try to get away from them. Try to make some new connections. Try to like talk to more people. Try to find more perspectives. More perspectives means more knowledge. That's what I learned. And when you get that knowledge, you will apply that in like every single path of your life. And when you do that, I feel like you will be satisfied. You won't be like fully satisfied, of course. We'll never be that. But you will at least like overcome your fear of, being around people who you don't like. Because then you will finally realize, I know my worth. I know who I gotta be with, That's my advice for all of you.
I think the idea of finding yourself is like low-key impossible.
We should talk about that next podcast, because this is deep. I got like many ideas on that.
It's shit. Like, I don't know. It's low. I mean, we're teenagers, and if we're gonna be honest, and if we're I'm still teenager till July, and if we're gonna be honest, like nobody really found themselves in this group. Right? If we're gonna be 100, and talking about toxicity, we as men, I believe, like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna take myself as an example.
Take one for
me
the
as
team,
a man. Like growing up, I feel like toxicity was a way to cope with things. Right, toxicity and comedy. Right, so like if I gotta cope with something, I just be funny. Right, like, yo, my uncle died. Yo, just crack a joke. Yo, that guy fell on his head. What a dumbass. Like that kind of shit. Right?
No,
I mean, I'm not taking it the hard way. I mean, all respect to my uncle, rest in peace. But like, I don't want to cry, right? So I just make a joke out of it or whatever. And toxicity goes, okay, not in that example, but like, it's just like, I mean, we're toxic here. And we always do that just for fun. We obviously don't mean it like personally or whatnot, but like some people probably take it personally, but whatever. We don't mean them no harm. And that's just a way for us to, I don't know, be funny or deal with things or that kind of stuff. That's normal too. I mean, you would expect that from your friends in school and all that stuff, but if you get that for like, as soon as you meet someone and suddenly he's just toxic to you and all that shit, no, we just gotta back off. Like, fuck that guy, go with someone else. And like saying that you have to be careful on choosing who you idolize, I agree with that, but it's not that easy. Like, some people are just like, when I went to school back home, like there was this cool kid, right? He would like steal his father's car, and like he would wear like Gucci. He would have Gucci bags and Gucci hats and all that stuff, and like nobody had Gucci at that time. Right? Nobody had Gucci at that time, so it was like really cool and everything. Now I idolize him obviously because I'm a dumbass, but like I didn't choose. I just did.
Yeah.
And obviously it was like really bad thing, because like then I started like acting out, just fighting with everyone. Like I flipped my principal and I got suspended and shit like that. Almost threw a chair at her too. But like I just started idolizing because I thought he was cool. And kids do that all the time. Even teenagers at times. And it's really hard to pick who you want to idolize and whatnot. Yeah, that was what I was looking for.
Okay. Okay. So if we're gonna take that concept that everyone in the world has at least one person they idolize. So who's the person at the very top? Who does he idolize?
The previous generation.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you think about it, okay, that's kind of true that
You
we're
just
all
got him good.
no.
You just left him speechless.
Okay, that was a good point. But I feel like, obviously we're all really young in this room. Obviously we really haven't found ourselves, but I think we're on the way.
Yeah.
We're on the way. And something that I learned is that you idolize a concept and not a person, because a person can always have something that you don't have, whether you can acquire it or not. They're always going to have like a disadvantage or an advantage over you. But an idea, you can really learn and apply and manifest it in your life. So how do you transition from idolizing people to idolizing an idea? Because as I said before, that's the kind of thing that takes a lot of confidence. If you're a teenager right now, and like we all go through it. Like you go through a phase where like you think, oh, I'm a piece of shit, I'm less than everybody, blah blah blah. If you're in that mindset, how hard can it be for you to completely detach from all like the human idols that you have, and attach your mind and your smart brain, basically smart ideas, to an idea that's gonna help you succeed in life, whether socially, economically, sexually, whatever the fuck.
I'm still thinking about that shit. Like, no. But I feel like the one thing that she said is right. Like, we should idolize, concepts or ideas, not people. Because people always change. People, like, change for good or bad. People change for, whatever they want to change for. But you don't know that. If let's say fucking Bill Gates, somebody idolize him, somebody want, make some new software and shit. And then later on, Bill Gates just fucking helps in a genocide. What are you gonna do then, right? I mean, it's a dumb point, but like I feel like it's like people can make big mistakes. So I feel like the concept was basically that Bill Gates is a rich person. He did this. He was, he fucked up in school, but he's still after he's still, now he's a fucking billionaire. The concept was to get rich and was to do something creative. So I feel like in that way, we should follow that concept and not Bill Gates. I'm not saying anything against him, of course, God forbid. But like, I'm saying the concept is more important than the person. And the way we can shift from, person to concept is basically when we realize that the person we're looking, that we're, that we know or that we idolize, he's gonna die someday. The idea or the concept, that's gonna stay forever. That's in your mind, but that person, his memories and everything, it will go away, right? So when you have the idea in your mind, you can fully focus on that, and you can fully execute it to like the top, to the fullest, through your own, means of whatever, means of communication or means of, doing things physically or whatever. So I feel like the concept is bigger than the idol, and I follow that too in some ways, to be honest. But I don't really know right now what I do because I'm still thinking about it. So
Can you clarify real quick what do you mean by idolize the concept?
as I said, the people, they're not gonna live forever. But ideas, they do live forever. However, they still change. Depends on the person or the values or morals they follow or the society that's thinking about the idea. But the person, he's gonna go away one day. But he will leave a legacy behind. Don't get me wrong, and that legacy will have an impact on future generations. But that legacy is made from the same idea that he had, right? So if you idolize the idea first before the person, you're gonna be better at whatever you're pursuing. Feel me?
I kind of don't agree with that, actually. See, I agree with the idea of not idolizing the person, and I mean, if I idolize R. Kelly, that doesn't mean I like him pissing
Why
on girls.
would you idolize him first?
He was a good rapper, yo. He was a good rapper. If I idolize the concept of Michael Jordan being the greatest basketball player ever, then I can strive to be that or like work that way. But just like he idolized Magic Johnson, just like LeBron idolized Kobe, the same idea. Wait, did he?
He
Alright,
idolized MJ, but okay.
Oh,
Yo,
MJ.
look at this geek, yo. Shut up.
We got a basketball geek over here.
Alright.
But like, I think you should, idolize the concept of a person, but you shouldn't just blindly follow the person. Just like the case that I just said, Michael Jordan. I would like to be him in basketball, but I wouldn't be him in person. I mean, I don't know what he's been through, what he's done, and that, but I know he's the greatest basketball player, and that's the idea that I idolize, or the concept of him that I idolize.
So the problem I see with that is, if you watched like the Last Dance, was it the documentary? Yeah. I feel like the problem with idolizing someone who's famous is that you never really get the bad side of their lives. So there was like this episode where like a guy asked Michael Jordan, why is he like so competitive and like tough, and why doesn't he just like let go sometimes? Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but Jordan actually like started tearing up, like he started crying. He was like, this is the way I did things. Like if you're gonna chase greatness, there's gonna come a lot of loss with that. The loss of time that you spend with your family. You're gonna lose the ability to make any real friends, anything like that. So if we take that from a basketball perspective, would you rather be LeBron, someone who's like more of a family man, never cheats, never gets in any trouble, but in basketball terms, he has a lot of losses. Like people don't really look at him as the like just serial killer, like that people say about like MJ and Kobe? Or would you rather like really, really actually idolize Michael Jordan and like understand that your life is gonna come with a lot of hard work and trouble and sacrifice, but at the end, when people talk to you, they mention the idea of greatness. Your name is literally on par with the word greatness. So are you willing to sacrifice all this family time and fun times and la di da di da over just the major respect that you get at being like the best, literally the best ever by like a big margin? Which idea are you gonna idolize?
I feel like this is what we talked about at the start too, right? Why don't, if we know that we're gonna do something and it's gonna make us better, why don't we do it, right? And MJ, I feel like he thought about that shit and he actually realized that he has to go through all this to be that greatness, I feel like when we like he took the long run, like we as like me and Bobby, like we talked about this shit like before. Why don't we just do the small tasks, like they're not really necessary but they will help us in the long run, why don't we do them? Because they don't provide us enough joy. We don't like the pain that it brings us, we don't like the value that we lose alongside this thing, right? So what we do is like we just take the small run and we stay happy at the end. You feel me? We take the small run every day. We do something. At the end of the day, we're satisfied with ourselves. But MJ, I feel like he went through all that shit and he knew in his mind, even if he didn't know, he wanted, he aspired to be the greatest player, and he became that because he took the long run. He gave all the sacrifices. He did what had to be done. He practiced. He fucking, he's a big deal now, maybe not now, but like at that time, at his fucking peak, still now, yeah. But at his peak, he was like, even now, we call him the greatest of all time, right? So he took the long run and he went along with it. But like we talked about this shit before, but I'm like, I still can't figure out. But at that time when we talked about it, I told him like, I'm gonna take the small run. I can't cope with all the fucking pain, bro. I can't, like, still, like, I can't, like, stay, like, be a cunt or, like, be a loser for a whole fucking year or 2 years and then get, like, success of, like, 3 months after 2 years. I'd rather take another path and be, happy every single day and make sure I stay happy every single day. Yeah, bro, like, don't get me into this shit. I told you, hell yeah. Like, even just by doing this right now, I'm, like, chilling. I'm happy, Like, I'm glad we did this. This is our first episode, but I'm glad we did this. And this is the short term. You feel me? But in a way, we can say this is gonna be the long term if it works out. People gonna remember us, three fucking kids talking about life.
So it brought up an interesting point of you can't cope with this pain, right? This pain of like maybe not seeing your family, having to, if like in the business world you have to work really a lot, like really hard for really long periods of time.
No,
but
no. Let me just say something. Like, I'm not ready to like waste or like spend years of my life pursuing something just to know that I'm not gonna get it like for years and I'm gonna get it at the very end. I don't want to do that. I'd rather do it like every single day and pursue it every single day, get my fucking progress going.
Yeah, something real quick. The thing is, he never knew that he would get that in the end.
That's
Nobody knows that.
That's
like,
yeah.
it's all up to, like, I mean, he didn't
In his
put anything
mindset,
up to
I feel
chance.
like-
That's why he practiced all the time and he tried his best. But like, he never really knows if he's gonna get the ring or if he's gonna be the greatest and that not. But he strives to be.
I don't feel like we can answer that, to be honest. I feel like only he knows if he knew that he's gonna be the greatest or not. I told you, like I said, he aspired to be one and he became one. But the mindset you gotta have is that you're gonna be. That will give you confidence. You feel me? That will build up your confidence and your your power inside, like the physical and the mental power. That will give you energy to cope with all this bullshit. Because at the end you're gonna make it. You feel me?
But if that same mindset, didn't that give him complacency? What's his name? The guy he's like an announcer with Shaq. He used to play in the NBA. He never won any rings, but he was one of the greatest at the time. Charles Barkley, exactly.
Fucking geek, yo.
It is mine. That guy, he always knew he's the best.
Uh-huh.
Right? But like, so that made him complacent. Right? So he never tried like MJ did. And that mentality, he was like, yeah, I'm just the greatest. Yeah, I know I'm gonna win. And at the finals, they used to bully the defender at that time. I don't remember the name. The Bulls defender, one of the greatest as well. Yeah, Scottie Pippins. There we go. And Scottie Pippins just turned against him, and like he scored more than not more, but like some crucial points. So that mindset can be toxic in a way, but like if used properly, exactly,
I agree.
It could lead you to like greatness.
Alright, y'all said something mad interesting that, going back to your point, you don't want to cope with this pain to achieve like the bigger result. You'd rather, put in the work necessary, just like be good or just a little great at something, but not be considered the greatest of all time. But we're just looking at this from a sports perspective. There are lawyers out there that make 100 mil a year and we don't even know what they look like or their name.
Right.
So it's not just sports, right? You need to have like a passion inside of you for something in order to pursue it in that like sick, twisted way that I'm gonna risk like everything. I'm gonna sacrifice everything to go after this. But with the age of like social media and the pressure from school and like the mental illnesses we're seeing in young people today, like the fucking gaming, the drugs, the premature sex, and the phones, the laptop, all that shit. If you're going through all of that, when do you really have time to sit and think, what am I passionate about? And how can I make sure I do this the correct way? Because I feel like every year, the opportunity for us like to just sit down and figure out what we want and how we're going to achieve certain things in life, it's going away because we have so many added troubles that we need to deal with on a daily basis. And that makes things like way harder to ever be like inspired by someone because you just develop thick skin. You just don't care anymore. So how do you overcome that? If you're a young, old person, whatever, how do you overcome that? Especially going back to my, previous point about like if you're in toxic environment and all of that. I think if you have that to deal with on top of all the things I just mentioned that are a part of life, basically, how do you get yourself out of that box to find something you're passionate about and you're willing to really work hard at it to become something that, that people can dispute? Because that's what respect is. I could like you, I could hate you, but if I respect you, that means you did your job. You did what was required of you.
from
So-
your perspective, because that's why you respect that person.
Yeah, but a lot of people can respect the same person. Like I said right now, if we Google the most successful lawyer, we're gonna like see his name, his face. We're not gonna know him, like him, whatever. But we're all gonna have respect for him, right? Because we all want to achieve to a certain degree, like what he was able to achieve in his field, right? So if you're a person, struggling with like any addictions and like, you procrastinate, whatever the fuck that word is, like you waste time,
Procrastinate, yeah.
you waste time, like you have a problem with like, your parents want to move out, whatever the fuck. How do you get yourself out of that mentality to find like something you're really passionate about and go into a zone when you can manifest your ideas and watch them grow and like succeed on a day-to-day basis?
Yo, I honestly thought for a second there that you were describing me, so
That hit home, huh?
yo, that hit home. I can't give you an answer for that. I'll pass it to this guy.
Alright, what was the question? Like, I legit got so lost. Motherfucker wrote another essay, bro. Swear to God.
I was saying that with all the shit we have to deal with today, as like, we hate school. We basically
How
like,
do we find our passion?
how do you find your passion when you feel stuck in like by things that compel you, like addictions or whatever, like a bad situation? How do you get yourself out of that mentality? What advice can you give like to old young people out there, whatever the fuck, whoever listening?
Do you guys remember that guy who came to our school, Arkan Asad, right? Do you remember I asked him a question? How can you truly be yourself when you're surrounded by all the influences? Your parents, your friend. He didn't like they never asked him that question because we were in the class and shit, right? Like technical issues. I don't have the answer to that, but I do have a little knowledge, I feel like you gotta discover more things. You gotta get outside. You gotta see how the world really is, You gotta see what more things you can do, what more things you can find, And when you find more things, I feel like you will like raise an interest in those things. And I feel like the more you find, the more options you have, right? But of course it becomes difficult because then you have more options. But at least you have like a vast amount of options. You can have, a little bit more freedom to do whatever you want. And I feel like that will help you in the long run, And that you won't find your passion in a single fucking day. There's no way, right? But in small steps, just like I said before, I'll rather take the small steps like every day than go for the long run, right? So you gotta like do small steps every day. My advice personally, take small steps, do small things, discover more. Like you have internet right now, search about different things, find something you like, find something you're passionate about. And if that doesn't work for you, keep trying, keep trying. And at the end, I promise you, like you will find something. So you don't have to be, mentally fucking, depressed about, finding your own passion. You don't have to be sad or anything. I know there's like family influence telling you gotta be an engineer, you gotta be a doctor, right when we're fucking born. Like, what did your parent tell you to be? Come on, be honest. We'll talk about that later anyways. But what I'm saying is the influence will never go away. You'll have to cope through it, Like this will happen no matter what. This is just the world we live in, man. But you can still try every day. Just don't give up and keep trying. That's all I gotta say to you.
We're gonna wrap up this episode now, okay? I feel like this went a lot better than I expected.
I agree.
This was something really enjoyable, really eye-opening. To get to talk this way for an hour, basically unfiltered, unedited, whatever the fuck. So, do you guys have any like closing remarks? Anything you want to tell the people? Real quick before we finish.
Hey yo, it's your boy Munib B. Michaels. Peace out. Let's go. We'll see you in the next episode very, very soon.
By the time this episode's up, we're gonna have like a Instagram account ready, all that shit. So make sure check the fucking description, like the video, subscribe, click the bell, do all of that shit. You have no idea.
If you found this any helpful, if you think we're talking about some real things, if you think that you can agree to us or even disagree, if it's better if you disagree, because then you'll find more perspectives, as I said. So make sure to do everything as the host said. Follow us on Instagram, follow us everywhere, like subscribe to us, like, and click the bell icon, please. That would be really, really helpful.
Again, make sure to do all that shit, and peace out. We'll see y'all next episode.
Peace.